This hearing is on the subject of the regulation of internet gambling. From a lot of my conservative colleagues, I hear the mantra, never regulate the internet. And I guess what they really mean is never regulate the internet unless we find something offensive, and then we'll regulate it. Because this is the most substantive interference with the freedom of the internet that has ever been enacted into law.
Over the past 10 years, the game's changed significantly.
Contemplated by the legislation is premised upon the ability of internet gambling sites to detect and block attempts to gamble online by minors, compulsive gamblers, and individuals located in jurisdictions that legally prohibit gambling. Let me say
you're not allowed to play in the U.S. unless you're in a handful of states, meaning a lot of the recreational players have been shut out from playing online, meaning there's less money in the pool. When that's the case, the game just gets significantly harder because the pros suck up the money faster.
After Black Friday, I immediately decided I would move somewhere. I mean, online poker was 98% of my job. At that point, I played live during the summer, and that was about it.
I was humbled, after a couple years living in Vegas. So, the first couple years were fine. We were all growing, we were all learning, we were all winning. I think we were all generally seeing that we were just as good as everyone else out there. A couple of our friends were ranked as the best in the world, But then we started to realize that the game was changing.
There was this illusion of being good at poker because you're beating these weak players. But as the better players became further and further apart from the pool, a lot of the community got left behind.
I mean, in terms of what changes, it's just natural. It's just the evolution of the game. The bad players are gonna lose their money and stop playing, and the good players are gonna gradually get better, and the games are gonna get harder. It just took a lot longer for that to happen over those years because there was so many players.
Probably 10 years ago, the naturally gifted player would almost always outperform the much less gifted player who studied hard. That's no longer the case. You can get very, very good now by studying, and you can get in trouble if you're a very naturally gifted player who's kind of skated by on that without hard work.
I definitely knew that I could not continue to play as casually as I was. The game had just gotten too tough, and it just got harder, and it was very clear, from a decade ago that it just wasn't going to be an option anymore.
I have a lot of love for the old days when you knew everybody in the poker room. If there was somebody that you didn't know, they were not a good player. Now, if there's somebody that you don't know, it's some genius from Scandinavia or something, and who's been sitting in front of a computer for the last 8 years.
Especially after Black Friday, the ratio of pros to recreational players, has continued to get worse. And the method of studying has changed a lot.
With the evolution of technology and AI as it pertains to poker, people have been more able to understand how to optimally proceed in a variety of situations. And that problem solving was previously just done through human trial and error.
16, 32. So none of that matters. You either got it or you don't.
There were people that were treating poker more like a math problem, trying to figure it out, and I had never thought of poker as a math problem. I had always thought that I understood it. I understood math, and I probably understood it better than most of the people I was playing with, but I never tried to, get to that point where I knew all the answers. I just wanted to know more than the rest.
I wasn't playing high enough stakes, really, ever, where I thought I needed to study, basically. If I was more concerned at that time with moving up, it would have been a different situation. But basically, if you fall into a pattern where you're comfortable at the stakes you're at and you're making good money, a lot of times you don't have incentive to study. And I think I was like that for several years.
Becoming more self-aware, honestly, is the biggest jump that people have to take in order to become elite in this game. Just acknowledging your own mistakes and starting to realize that they're your mistakes and they're not anyone else's, and you making excuses for them doesn't mean they're going to go away.